the #1 hyperactive knucklehead ninja, Naruto. Today we're going to cover the first arc, so the first 4 volumes. We'll start with obviously the beginning, but this will cover from the intro to the series through the Zabuza arc, which actually happens very quick. If you watch the Bleach video, link it here I guess, that took almost, 7 or 8 volumes to get to the first real arc of the series. That's, like more story driven as opposed to just the single chapter storylines. This does it in this one book. After this book, you basically get into the Zabuza arc, which is short, but is very much its own thing, and then you move right into the tuning exams, which is one of the longest arcs in part 1. It's quite long, which is good. I actually really like that this moves quickly. I really don't like this volume, though. Upon rereading, Naruto is really annoying when it's just, the introductory stuff. When you're just learning about who Naruto is as a character, he's quite annoying. So this one is trash. That's just how it is. But Volume 2, on the other hand, is great. Volume 2, you start off with the end of the Bell exam, which is cool. You get to introduce Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke more. The interaction between the 3 children characters is quite good, but also Kakashi's pretty funny with his everything. Between reading the book while fighting Naruto, basically threatening Sakura with Sasuke's death, and then burying Sasuke in the ground, the Bell exam is quite fun to watch. From there we move right into the first major arc, and that is the Zabuza stuff. We get introduced to Naruto being a coward when he gets attacked by 2, I believe they're rain ninja. That's pretty cool. Again, this is a pretty interesting fight scene. We see how smart Kakashi actually is on the battlefield, learning about them as they do, learning about them through the fight, the people that are tricking them. You see that he noticed the puddle on the ground despite no rain. These are all interesting things that build Kakashi's character and show that while he is a little bit of a goofball, he is a smart ninja. From there we go right into the first fight with Zabuza, and then we get introduced to Haku when they take Zabuza out. And again, we get another interesting line of Kakashi realizing that if they were actually an Anbu team hunting down Zabuza, they wouldn't have taken the body anywhere. They would have just dealt with it there. But this person took Zabuza away, so it's likely that Zabuza survived. That pulls us right into Volume 3, which we see some training. They learn to climb trees. We learn more so that Sakura is far and away the smartest and best at chakra control of the group, as far as the kids are concerned. Kakashi's obviously, not counted here. We learn that Naruto is, again, by far the worst, and Sasuke sits right in the middle where he's the strongest in the team. However, he's not the most skilled necessarily. He's just the strongest. From there, we see the actual fight between Kakashi and Zabuza of round 2. Again, this moves very quickly. We get right into the fight, Kakashi and Zabuza round 2, and then Sasuke fights Haku, and then Naruto shows up. And by the end of this volume, it appears as though Sasuke was killed by Haku, and we get the first look at Naruto in his 9-tailed state, the whole red chakra going around, which is very cool. It's one of the best scenes, especially this early in the series. And then we go right into Volume 4, and Naruto just decimates through Haku's ice style that they were unable to do anything previously, and he's just jumping around, smashing mirrors. Very good fight. You see Haku sacrifice himself to save Zabuza from Chidori, from Kakashi. This is the first time we see the Chidori from Kakashi. So again, this is a big thing. We see summoning jutsu for the first time, where Kakashi summons his hounds. Again, this is something that, these things are all built on the universe. It pulls us right into the next major arc, which is the Chunin exams. And while it just kind of introduces some of the characters, we start introducing some of the other characters like Kankuro, Tamari, and Gaara. We meet Shino, Hinata, and Kiba. And then we start seeing some of the other characters, just the other Leaf Ninja. And these mostly become more important characters throughout the series. Hinata is obviously a more main character towards, not main, but we start to see her more towards the end. Kiba and Shino, or Kiba has a much larger role towards the back half of part 1. We're also introduced to people like Shikamaru, Ino, just a slew of other characters that become fan favorites and incredibly popular. And again, all of this happens within the first four volumes. That's very quick, considering. A lot of other manga take quite a while to get started. This doesn't. That's one of my favorite things about Naruto. It's very quick to get you into the series. If you can make it past volume 1, you're pretty much set. Volume 2 is very good, and usually if you read volume 2, you'll know by then if you're going to like the series or not. The characters in and of themselves. We'll start with Naruto, since he's the main character. He's definitely a goofball at this point. Very untalented as far as his ninjutsu are concerned. He's basically shown to be an idiot throughout this whole first arc. Accomplishes very little. He does learn the multi-shadow clone jutsu, where he just appears everywhere. And that's neat. That's cool, but it kind of just isn't a whole lot going on there. And then he does, at the end, we see him as his nine-tailed state. We start to see that he does have this strength, but there's obviously something preventing him from using it. He's not the best character at this stage of the series, but he's interesting enough. And I think showing the nine-tailed state this early definitely helps make him feel like more of a main character. Honestly, prior to this, he's not very interesting. Like the first 2 volumes, he's not very interesting. Other characters are much more interesting, such as Sasuke. Sasuke's one of the fan favorites. He's probably the most interesting character. He's basically the main character that's not the main character. At the end of this arc, he develops his own Sharingan, which Kakashi has. We'll get to Kakashi last. He is obviously he's clearly the strongest amongst Team 7, but he's also not the best amongst Team 7. That ironically goes to Sakura here, in this arc at least. This doesn't last very long, but at this point, she's the best user of most of the basic ninjutsu. She doesn't do anything particularly special, but as far as the basic just clones and like a simple one-off clone or transformations or your basic ninjutsu, the stuff they learned at the academy, she's clearly more advanced than the other 2. She's also the best at the chakra control. When it comes to the tree climbing exercise, she's far past the other 2. Kakashi even makes note of it, that she's easily the best at chakra management. Honestly, I think her biggest failing is probably just a lack of actual combat skills. She's not really shown fighting, which I think is a really big missed opportunity. A lot of people complain about Sakura being easily the worst character of the main 3, I guess main 4. And I agree, because she is, but she is because she's just so unused. Like, read this entire arc. Notice I never really mentioned her until now. She just doesn't come up. She doesn't do anything in the first volume, but that's understandable. I focus mostly on Naruto. She is Naruto's love interest for this part of the series, but that's kind of half-baked. It's clear she doesn't care, and she's just obsessed with Sasuke. That is used as a detriment to her when they do the bell fight with Kakashi. However, she's not shown actually fighting. She gets a genjutsu put on her, and that's it. She's taken out of the fight almost immediately. She accomplishes nothing in that entire fight. And granted, it's a training exercise, but still, Naruto's shown to at least be trying, and he actually does fairly well, considering he attacked on his own, with the clone jutsu being a surprise. He mostly loses to his own just idiocy and not actually being unable to take the bell. He probably could have if he wasn't stupid. Sasuke, on the other hand, excels and gets very close, but obviously Kakashi is far better than any of them, so they were never going to get one of these bells. Like, it just wasn't going to happen. Kakashi's far and away better than all of them, so it wasn't going to happen. But he gets pretty close considering, again, he attacked by himself, and the whole point of this is supposed to be teamwork. To the point where Kakashi doesn't even read his book, really, when fighting Sasuke, which is a drastic change from Naruto, who did fairly well, but Kakashi was reading his book the whole time. Sakura just doesn't accomplish anything in that fight, and that's kind of lame. Like, she's supposed to be a main character, she's a main part of this team, but in the first fight, she's shown doing nothing. She gets knocked out by a genjutsu that tricks her into thinking that Kakashi massacred Sasuke, which, if funny, and it is played for laughs, is kind of telling of where her character is going to go. And later on, we see her in the first fight outside the village with the two random claw ninjas. I can't remember where they're from. And she doesn't do anything there either. She sort of defends the bridge builder. However, she doesn't really do that either. She just stands there with her knife in hand, and when they actually come after him and her together, Kakashi's the one who stops them by, like, kind of clotheslining him. So she didn't really do anything there either. Like, she's shown being the one defending him, but she doesn't actually accomplish anything. Later on, during the first fight with Zabuza, again, she just doesn't do anything. She's shown to be standing there protecting the bridge builder. And while all these things are technically doing something, Naruto gets much more development during that first fight. Sasuke actually does fight those ninjas during the first fight. During the Zabuza fight, when Kakashi gets trapped by Zabuza, Naruto and Sasuke are shown to be the ones who take charge and fight Zabuza and get Kakashi freed. And then Kakashi's the one who defeats him, sort of. And then during the second fight, we go back to her protecting the bridge builder, and again, just not doing anything. She's just there, while Sasuke, and then eventually Sasuke and Naruto fight Haku, and Kakashi fights Zabuza. She's just standing there. Again, she's defending the bridge builder, and I kind of get that that's what, they're a four-man cell. Someone has to defend him since that's what they're after. That's what Zabuza is after. But constantly having it be her means that she gets no real development. Outside of that tree exam, she doesn't do anything. So she's told to us to be the strongest, or at least the most skilled when it comes to her chakra use and ninjutsu, but she's never actually shown to do anything. I think people just assume that Naruto and Sasuke are stronger than her because they're shown in combat fighting. She's never shown in combat doing anything. At least at this point, she's just not shown. And again, for being one of the main characters of the show, or the series, rather, it's a little odd that he chose to just completely ignore her. This does sort of get remedied in the next... We'll talk about it in the next video, but in the tuning exams, it sort of gets remedied, but things aren't good for Sakura, and anyone who's watched the series knows that it never really gets better for her. Even when she does get a couple good scenes, it immediately gets taken away. And lastly, we have Kakashi. He's a Jonin. He's the mentor character for the group, and he's clearly strong. We don't really see how strong exactly. During the Bell fight, when you first introduced, it's clear that he's significantly stronger than everyone around him, from Team 7, but that feels like an obvious statement. He's obviously a Jonin, which is 2 classes above them as Genin. They're fresh out of the academy. He's clearly an adult, but he's shown to be strong enough that he's reading his book fighting Naruto, our main character, and it doesn't even matter. And during Sasuke, while he puts the book down and does have to try a little bit, it results in him just putting him in the ground. Nothing really happens with Sakura. He just knocks her out almost immediately with the Genjutsu, so he takes them all down with no real effort, but it's very clear that he is strong. We do eventually get to see just how strong he really is and just how smart he actually is when they fight the 2 random ninja. He notices the puddle on the ground. He mentions this, that it hasn't rained in a significant period of time. There's a puddle on the ground. So he kind of catches a lot of these things that, seem minor to the reader until he points them out. And so you kind of get a sense that he is far smarter than, anticipated based on his first introduction. And then his fight with Zabuza, though he's captured pretty quickly, once he is free with the help of Sasuke and Naruto, the use of the Sharingan just, shows exactly how strong this guy really is. And then his final fight with Zabuza when their rematch, that even when he can't see because of due to the fog, his Sharingan to manipulate Zabuza because his eyes are closed, that he's still strong enough to take him out, almost with very little effort, I would say. He does get a nice cut, but honestly, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. He's mostly just exhausted by the end of the fight because of the use of the Sharingan so much. He's just shown to be incredibly powerful, but we don't learn a whole lot about him. We do understand that he has one Sharingan, and we don't know why he has it at this point. We don't learn that for a very long time, although it's quicker in the manga than it is in the anime. We learn it sooner. So we don't know why he has one, despite not being an Uchiha, but it being a Kekkei Genkai, which means that only Uchiha should have it. It's a bloodline trait, so that's it. We get some mystery set up around him, but we still understand that he is a significant ninja. Overall, the first arc is really quick. I don't actually have a whole lot to say about it specifically. They get you through the introduction, which is, in my opinion, pretty terrible. I think it's very boring. The Konohamaru stuff, the Ebisu stuff, it's not fun or interesting to me personally. But it gets you through it pretty quickly, and you go right into the first main arc, and all three fights that are really shown in the arc are very good. Especially the first two, the two Zabuza fights, those are very good, which makes it feel like the series is moving. You get a nice little training segment, get a nice backstory for Haku. We get some interesting stuff with Zabuza in general. Both characters are just interesting. It's a very good and strong first arc. That's good. Short, quick. That's it. Thanks for watching.